Ma'am, I need everybody out for right now.
Are you okay? Do you need anything? I can't hear you, baby. Speak up. You're thirsty. Okay.
You're about to watch a 9-year-old boy do something most adults couldn't do. He's going to tell detectives exactly what happened to his sister. And by the end of this video, you'll understand 2 things. How 4 children cracked a case investigators almost missed.
And the children's who came to me and told me.
And what did they say?
They said, the oldest one said that he was punching her in the chest in her playpen. And I do believe that.
All 3 of them saw
Yes.
him punching him?
And why 1 hour on a February morning might be the difference between life and death. That's Promise 1. Stick around, and I'll show you the exact moment their testimony changes everything.
How long have they been back?
Since the beginning of November. And I should not have done it, but I let her come and move into my house. Gave her a car.
You can't know what's going to happen.
I know, but I didn't want that boyfriend to move in, which is his dad. I'm trying not to be
Yeah,
too
it's
loud.
okay.
Because he would not let me see the kids every time I came. We were coming over to work on this place again. Because we had been doing stuff. Because I told her, I got a place, it's not ready. But it'll get you and the kids off the street, you know. And we've been working on it since she's been here. And I didn't want the 2 oldest ones. I had custody of the other 2, and she had the other 2. Because
Mom has the younger 2?
I had the younger 2.
Okay.
The Paisley.
Okay.
She had the older 2, and I let her come and move in while we worked on things. And I've been working out with her, you know, on rent and stuff like that.
Understood.
And then she got repoed, and I let her do the car thing. I gave her a car to make payments on. Okay. And I brought the girls back here to be with her because,
in November.
Yeah, yes, in November to be with their mother. You
of course.
know.
All right.
I had to get safety locks because she's autistic. That's the baby in the ambulance, and she didn't look like that. She was skin and bones. That dude wouldn't even let me see that kid when coming over here.
The guy had detained?
Yeah.
Okay.
I wasn't allowed to even see both of them.
How long has he been in, I guess, her life?
2 months. But you can look at the baby now and there and see she don't look the same.
Yeah,
you can see her.
That's in the ambulance.
I had him for like 4 or 5 months, which I'm fixing to get him back because this is bizarre. I had him in school, everything, you know. That was before they went to school. They're literally skin and bones. When I dropped these 2 off, they were hefty. I have doctor's records to prove it. I took them to the doctor. They hadn't been to the doctor in forever. This baby hadn't had her formula since she was 6 months old. They're still in my name, actually. And I got this lady over here, notary, signing papers up to put them back into my care, and she's going to sign off on it so that way I know what's happening with these kids.
Here's Promise 2. There's a warning that was filed years before this happened. A warning that got ignored. And by chapter 3, you'll know exactly who ignored it. Picture this. A deputy kneels down next to a group of kids sitting outside a home in Citra, Florida. One of them, just 9 years old, looks exhausted, scared. The deputy asks if he's okay.
I need everybody out for right now.
Are you okay? Do you need anything? I can't hear you, baby. Speak up. You're thirsty. Oh.
Asks if he needs anything. Thirsty, the boy says. That's it. That's the whole exchange. A cop, a thirsty kid, a quiet front yard. But here's what you need to understand. This moment is happening minutes after his 3-year-old sister died inside that house. Pause. And right now, in this exact moment, the deputies on scene have no idea this wasn't a natural death. They don't know it yet, but you do. Because you're about to watch these children do something extraordinary. They're about to expose who killed their sister. Let's back up. On the 19th of February 2026, deputies in Marion County, Florida responded to a 911 call. Someone reported an unresponsive 3-year-old inside a home in Citra. Her name was Paisley Brown. When deputies arrived, they didn't waste time. They detained the one adult who'd been alone with the children all morning. His name is Jerome Combs. He's 32. He's the children's stepfather.
You have anything weapons on you? Anything that's gonna stick or poke me? Again, you're not under arrest right now. He's just detained.
Before we go further, hit subscribe. Because what these kids tell detectives next is going to change how you see this entire case. Right now, Jerome isn't under arrest. He's detained. Routine, by the book. Deputies ask if he's carrying anything sharp. He says no. His voice is calm. Almost too calm for a man whose stepdaughter just stopped breathing. But calm doesn't last long in this house. Because while Jerome sits in the back of a patrol car, 4 children are about to tell 4 different deputies the exact same story, independently, without coaching, without comparing notes. And what they say will turn a routine welfare check into a homicide investigation. You're going to hear directly what those kids told investigators. You're going to hear the timeline start to unravel in real time. And you're going to meet a woman who says she warned authorities this exact thing would happen years before it did.
I called DCF 4 years ago and I told them when they took those kids away that if they gave those kids back, that baby was going to end up dead. Ironically, it wasn't even the baby I thought. Like, if they give those kids back, they're all going to end up dead. Like, they're going to die. Okay. She's a terrible fucking mother. Like, she's dead. Okay. She's dead.
I can't give you a lot of information. It's active, okay? You want to grab your phone? Grab your phone. Come back over here. Okay.
I know she's dead. She's dead, isn't she?
I can't give you information.
I can tell by your face that she's dead.
No, I'm just telling you I can't give you any information. I don't even know who she is. There's so many people that live here.
3-year-old
Okay? I'm just going to tell you that I can't give out information, okay?
Is the
There's
guy
a detective
arrested?
that's assigned. There's nobody at the house. I can't give you information, okay? And I know that's frustrating. And I especially, there's news here. We can't give out information, okay? There's detectives that are assigned to this incident right now, okay? I can take your information
Can they call
and give
me?
them. Yep.
Because I can give them all the information that they could not give these kids back to this girl.
100%. 100%. DCF's here. Detectives are here. So
They have
any
other babies. I'm
information,
sure you can't tell me that either.
Everybody, yes. Okay.
Those need to get taken away from her, ma'am.
Okay.
This isn't a story about a mysterious death. This is a story about warnings nobody heeded, about a morning that had at least 1 missing hour, and about 4 kids who refused to stay quiet. Let's start at the beginning. To understand how a 9-year-old became the star witness in his sister's death, you have to go back to that morning before anyone on scene knew anything was wrong. Here's Promise 1, delivered. When deputies first pull up to that house in Citra, all they know is this: a child is unresponsive, and paramedics are already working to save her. They don't know about the punches.
And the children's who came to me and told me.
And what did they say?
They said, the oldest one said that he was punching her in the chest in her playpen. And I do believe that.
All 3 of them saw
Yes.
him punching him?
Yes.
Okay.
They don't know about the restraints. They don't know any of it yet. Jerome Combs is the only adult present. That alone makes him the first person deputies need to talk to. But it's not Jerome who breaks this case wide open in the first hour. It's his fiance's aunt, a woman named Tabitha Harless, standing on the side of the road, desperate for information nobody will give her. I should have never gave these kids back to her, she tells a deputy.
Years ago and I told them when they took those kids away that if they gave those kids back, that baby was going to end up dead. Ironically, it wasn't even the baby I thought. Like, if they give those kids back, they're all going to end up dead. Like, they're going to die. Okay. She's a terrible fucking mother. Like, she's dead. Okay. She's dead.
I can't give you a lot of information. It's active, okay? You want to grab your phone? Grab your phone. Come back over here. Okay.
I know she's dead. She's dead, isn't she?
I can't give you information.
I can tell by your face that she's dead.
No, I'm just.
She explains the custody history. The children had been split up. She'd had 2 of them herself for months, she says, and she'd noticed something troubling when they came back to their mother. I called DCF 4 years ago, and I told them if they gave those kids back, that was going to end up dead, she says. Sit with that for a second. A relative claims she warned child welfare services years earlier. She says she told them exactly this could happen. And now she's standing on a roadside, guessing correctly that her worst fear came true. She doesn't get confirmation. Deputies can't tell her anything yet, but you can see it on her face before anyone says a word. She already knows. Meanwhile, inside that house, 4 children are being separated and interviewed. And here's where the case turns. All 4 of them independently describe the same thing. Their stepfather punching Paisley repeatedly in the chest, inside her playpen, right before she stopped moving. 4 kids. Same story, no coordination. That's the kind of consistency detectives don't get very often. And it's about to get worse. Because when Paisley reaches the hospital, doctors find more than bruising. Preliminary findings point to restraint marks on her legs and trauma consistent with sexual assault. I want to be careful here. These are allegations. Jerome has been detained, not convicted. But when 4 children's statements line up with what doctors are finding on a 3-year-old's body, you start to understand why deputies moved as fast as they did. This is the moment a welfare check becomes a homicide investigation. This is the moment Jerome stops being a grieving stepfather and starts being a suspect. And it's the moment you realize something else. Tabitha's warning wasn't a coincidence. It was a red flag nobody acted on. Who else saw this coming? Was there a paper trail? A caseworker who signed off on sending these kids back? We don't fully know yet, and that's a thread this video is going to keep pulling. But the physical evidence, the hospital findings, the 4 consistent statements, that's only half of what breaks this case. The real gut punch is still ahead. Because while all of this unfolds, there's a full hour unaccounted for, an hour where someone knew something was wrong and didn't call for help. But the physical evidence was only half the story. The real break in the case came from a timeline and one detail about where Paisley's mother was during it. Here's promise 2. You wanted to know who ignored that warning. Let's talk about the mother, Jennifer, and the hour that might have cost her daughter her life. Investigators reconstruct the morning using phone records and call logs, and what they find raises a question this whole case hinges on. Could Paisley have survived if someone had called 911 sooner? Let's break down what the timeline actually shows. 5 key points. 1. Jennifer leaves the house around 8 a.m. to run errands, leaving Jerome home alone with 4 children. 2. At some point that morning, Jerome contacts Jennifer to tell her something is wrong with Paisley. 3. Jennifer reportedly sees her daughter on a video call around this time, pale, barely responsive. 4. Jennifer does not go home immediately. She finishes an appointment first. 5. Nearly an hour passes between that first warning and the moment anyone actually dials 911. Let that sink in. An hour. Here's the detail that turns this from a tragic delay into something much harder to watch. Jennifer says that morning she went to the DMV to replace a license. Then she decided to treat herself. I don't do anything for myself, she says. I was like, man, screw it. I'm going to go get my nails done. She was getting her nails done while her daughter lay unresponsive on a video call. I want you to think about that detail for a second, because it's going to come up again. A mother sees her 3-year-old in visible distress on video and doesn't immediately drop everything to rush home. Now, phone records confirm the timeline detectives suspected. Jerome's message to Jennifer lines up. Her movements that morning line up. The math isn't in dispute. What's in dispute is why nobody moved faster. Could that hour have saved Paisley's life? Doctors and investigators may never say so definitively, but it's the question hanging over every minute of this case. It's the question you can't stop asking once you know the timeline. And it's not just Jennifer's choices that morning raising questions, it's Jerome's. Because he's the one who had Paisley in his care when whatever happened, happened. He's the one who waited before calling Jennifer at all. So why the delay? Why did it take an hour, start to finish, for anyone to call for help? Jerome has an answer, or at least a version of one. And when detectives sit him down and ask him to walk through that morning minute by minute, his story starts moving. Details shift. Timelines blur. What he says at the start doesn't quite match what he says 20 minutes later. Would you have finished that appointment? or dropped everything the second you saw that video? Tell us in the comments. I want to know what you would have done. Jerome had his own explanation for that missing hour, and detectives were about to hear every version of it. What Jerome told detectives next didn't match what 4 children had already said hours earlier in 4 separate rooms. Jerome sits across from detectives, and the first thing he does is paint a picture. He's the hands-on stepdad. Bath time, bedtime, the whole routine, like it's second nature to him. Except it isn't. Because hours earlier, a 9-year-old already told deputies his stepfather barely knew the basics of caring for these kids. That contradiction is sitting in the room before Jerome even opens his mouth. Detectives ask him to walk through the morning. He says he woke up around 10 or 11, he's not sure which. He says he heard Paisley crying for him from across the room. Says he didn't respond right away, because he usually starts with breakfast first. Then he says he went to get her. And that's when things get vague. He says her hair was damp, like she'd been sweating. Says she seemed groggy, not moving right. He says maybe she'd overheated under a blanket. Notice what's missing from that account? No mention of an injury, no mention of anything alarming enough to call 911 immediately. Just a stepfather describing a sleepy toddler who happened to be sweaty. Compare that to what 4 children already told investigators. Compare that to a hospital report describing restraint marks and trauma consistent with assault. Compare that to a body that would soon be pronounced dead. Jerome's version and the physical evidence are not telling the same story. Detectives keep pressing. They ask about the bedroom setup, about who sleeps where, about whether the other children were crying too. Jerome's answers get more specific in some places and vaguer in others, exactly the kind of pattern investigators are trained to notice. He never raises his voice. He never breaks down. He answers steadily, almost too steadily, for a man describing the morning his stepdaughter died. If this account is giving you chills, imagine sitting in that interrogation room hearing it live. Subscribe now, because we're about to show you exactly how this interrogation ends, and it's not what you'd expect. Here's what I need you to understand about interrogations like this one. Detectives already know what 4 children said. They already have the hospital findings. Every question they ask Jerome is a test against information he doesn't know they have. And every time his account shifts, a detail added, a detail softened, a timeline nudged, that gap between his story and the evidence gets a little wider. To be clear, Jerome Combs has been detained. As of this video, he has not been formally convicted of anything. The legal process still has to play out. But the contradictions between his account and 4 independent child witnesses are the reason this case moved from a welfare check to a homicide investigation in a matter of hours. Did you catch the exact moment his story changed? Drop the timestamp in the comments. I want to see if we're all catching the same thing. So here's where this leaves us. 4 children who never met privately, who never compared notes, describing the same violence. A hospital report describing injuries that don't match, sleepy and sweaty. A stepfather whose timeline keeps moving every time he's asked to repeat it. And still, one question hangs over everything. If Tabitha Harless really did warn authorities years ago that sending these children back could end in tragedy, why didn't anyone listen? That's not a question detectives can answer in an interrogation room. That's a question about a system, and it's the question we're closing this case on. As of this video, Jerome Combs has been detained but not yet formally charged, and there's one part of this story that has nothing to do with him at all. Let's go back to something Tabitha Harless said, standing on the side of that road, before she even knew for certain her worst fear had come true. She says she called Child Welfare Services 4 years before Paisley died. She says she warned them that sending these kids back to their mother could end in tragedy. If that's accurate, it means there was a documented warning sitting in a file somewhere years before a 3-year-old girl stopped breathing in a playpen in Citra, Florida. We don't know exactly what that file says. We don't know who reviewed it, or what was decided, or why the children eventually went back. That's not something this video can answer for you. But it's a thread worth pulling. Because systems built to protect kids only work if someone acts on the warnings inside them. Here's where the case stands today. Jerome Coombs remains detained. The investigation is active. No formal charges have been filed as of this video, and no trial date has been set. Jennifer's own role in that missing hour remains an open question, one investigators haven't publicly resolved. I want to be honest with you about something. This video doesn't have a tidy ending. Paisley Brown is gone. The legal process for the people around her is still unfolding, and it may be months before anyone knows how this resolves in court.
Exposed by his own kids, this monster is about to face the biggest reality check of his life.
Without being asked
Do you have any
twice.
weapons on you?
A relative says she saw
Anything that's
this
gonna
coming
poke you?
years in advance.
Immediately detained
And a
Jerome
family that should
Coombs,
have been
since
protected
he'd been
by
alone with the
multiple layers
children
of
all
oversight
morning.
fell through every
Right
single
now,
one of
this
them.
is just a
That's
routine
what makes
detention,
this case
but it's
different
about to
from
become a
most of what
lot
we
more
cover.
once
It's not
detectives
just
hear
about one
strange
man in
things
an
witnesses are
interrogation.
about to tell him on the
It's about
scene.
every point along the way where someone could have stepped in and didn't. If this case affected you the way it affected me, do two things right now. Subscribe so you don't miss the update when charges are filed, and drop a comment telling me what stood out to you most, because I read every single one. Should child welfare services be held accountable here too, alongside Jerome? Or does responsibility stop with the person in that house? Tell me where you land. We'll be following this case as it develops. If Jerome Coombs is formally charged, if Jennifer faces any legal consequence of her own, if that DCF file ever becomes public, we'll bring it to you. For now, one thing is certain. A 3-year-old girl who trusted the adults around her to keep her safe didn't survive the morning of February 19th. And the 4 siblings who told the truth deserve to be remembered as the reason this case didn't stay buried. This isn't over, and neither are we.